Hi, today I want to offer a workout for you to do at home with yoga with Resist-A-Ball. And for those of you, just real quick background about the ball. The Resist-A-Ball was introduced to the fitness world in 1993 by Mike and Stephanie Morris. And they introduced it at the World Idea Conference in New Orleans. So it's been around for a long time. Now originally, the stability ball training was developed in Europe in the rehab market to work with people with spinal injuries as well as neurological disorders. So the ball has its application in physical therapy as well as fitness in the fitness market. It's fabulous for your balance, and the ball can enhance so many aspects of training. It's almost like a mobile bench for free weights, but it also has a lot in common that yoga does. Yoga focuses a lot around, a big part of it is the health of your spine, stability, as well as the stability ball. So they work very well together to enhance or challenge or support different yoga postures. There are three basic challenges with the ball. One is a resistance challenge. So by moving the ball further away from you, it can add more of a load. The stability challenge is usually by changing your base of support, making something more narrow so that your stabilizers have to work a little harder. And then the dynamic challenge is the one that I feel has the best to lend to yoga. Since yoga is typically a flow, especially vinyasa, the dynamic challenge allows the movements to flow more smoothly into each other while still challenging your stability using this, unstable surface. So today, I'm going to start with a sun salutation to warm up. And this is something that a lot of people are quite familiar with if you've done yoga. So I'm going to stand tall in mountain pose. One more thing about the ball. It's a good idea to have a ball that when you sit on it, your thighs are level or parallel, to the floor. The firmer the ball, the more challenging it may be. So if you choose a soft, sometimes the balls mushroom out. If you're not too familiar with ball training, that may be a better choice because it gives you more surface area. But for the most part, thighs parallel, and then your choice whether it's a firm ball or a softer ball. Some movements may lend themselves easier to a smaller ball. And if you're taller, you may need a larger ball, okay? So when you hold your ball out in front, you're always holding it in your hands, but hugging it from your upper back. And when you stand tall in your mountain pose, press down strongly through your feet. So we'll start here just with a breath. Inhale and stretch up, and then exhale and lower the ball. So practice here holding the ball from your upper back, right? Breathing deeply, of course. Inhale, reaching up to feel lots of length in your body, and exhaling to lower. Now if we take this further, inhale and stretch up. I'm going to soften my knees and exhale and fold way out and over. So this is like a forward fold with my hands on the top sides of the ball. And in a forward fold, this is so nice to have the support to help lengthen my spine and emphasize folding right at my hip joint. Now if I inhale and bring the ball under my chest, this is very much like half forward fold in yoga. And then exhaling to step one foot back, followed by the other, and voila, I have a plank, basically. Now if I lower slowly my low belly onto the ball, and then I can separate my feet, there's that balance challenge or stability challenge that I mentioned. A wider base gives me more support. If I put my hands on the front of the ball and push down in order to lift into a little back bend, which is very similar to Cobra, except for my belly's on a ball. And then exhale and press back. Now this first time I'm going to bend my knees a lot and use my hands on the side of the ball to press up, and then I end up folding into forward fold. And walk feet behind the ball, and then hands on the side. Inhale and stretch up, and then exhale and stand tall. So we'll go through that several times. Inhale to lengthen and lift. Exhale, soft knees hinging at your hips to fold forward. And then lengthen out here a little bit. It feels really nice. So see how this dynamic nature of the ball allows me to really reach my hands forward while I stretch my hips back. And then bring the ball under your chest. Fingers point down. Load, body weight. Shoulders are right over the wrists. Step back into a plank. Honor that plank, so straight, strong legs, and then slowly lowering your low belly to the ball. And see how I still point my toes so that I can get that leverage to get my low belly on the ball. Hands on the top sides of the ball to lift into a little back bend, and then bending my knees, press back and up into a little bit of a wider forward fold. Walk feet up behind the ball. Long spine, hands on sides, inhaling to lift and exhaling to lower. All right, when you go through that again, make it a little smoother. Inhaling, stretching up. Exhale out to fold over. Inhale to pull the ball under my chest. Exhaling to step back into plank. Lowering slow. And on an inhale, I'll press into the ball to lift into a little back bend. And this is great to get the tops of your feet down to the floor. Really great for ankles. Lowering. Now this time I can kind of find a little bit of a rock back and forth. Again, the dynamic nature allows me to have this little pulsing action, which is great. And then I push with straight legs and fold forward. This feels so wonderful. If you turn your toes in just a little bit, find internal rotation and keep lengthening and rolling the ball away, relaxing your neck. Oh, happy, happy stuff. Walk feet up behind the ball. Hands on the sides, soft knees, long spine, inhaling to lift, and exhale to lower and stand tall. Okay, so let's just play. We're gonna add on. Inhale, stretch up. Lengthening out to fold over. This is a big strength builder right here. Lowering with against gravity. Roll the ball under your chest. Fingers point down. Stepping back into plank. Lowering low belly onto the ball. Shifting your hands to roll forward. You can keep feet a little more narrow once you get comfortable with it. And then pressing back, your choice. Knees can be bent or legs straight. Now from this sort of forward fold, I'm going to bring my heel toe my feet in a little. Lengthen, lift, walk up behind the ball. And then stepping just my right foot back into lunge, right? So I'm going to lunge my left shin into the ball and kind of feel that feedback. So my shin gives me something to push into. Planting my back foot on a diagonal in preparation for warrior one, I'll grab the ball and keep that front shin parked as I reach up, framing ears. Now the ball does have a little bit of weight, so it can help to find a little more shoulder flexion is actually what this is. So I can let the weight of the ball pull my arms back if that feels okay. Right, and sinking deep into the lunge. As I exhale, place the ball down, lift my back heel, shoulders over wrists, stepping to plank, hover low, low belly to the ball, roll forward into up dog or cobra, pressing back into a long or extended forward fold. And then I'll practice this on the other side. So with feet together, I'll walk up and left step back and lunging right shin into the ball, catch hold, rise, yeah, and breathe deeply here. As you exhale, ball comes down right back where it started, right in front of your shin. Lift the back heel, adjust so shoulders are over wrists, step to plank, and rock forward onto your toes to lower your belly, lift into cobra, and then release and press back into down dog. And then walking feet up behind the ball. Grab the ball, inhale and stretch up. Exhale as you stand tall. So let's add on. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, reaching out to fold over. Roll the ball under your chest. Let's just step right leg back into lunge. And I'll go through the warrior one again. So lunging left shin into the ball, lift and reach. Your warrior one, you can stay tall. You can also add that little back bend, which gives you a wonderful opening through the right psoas. Now, playing with triangle, lower the ball to the floor. Place your left hand on top of the ball, right hand on your hip, opening your hips, to the side rather than facing forward. Begin to straighten out your left leg. So you're already folded over into kind of a lateral hip flexion. Roll the ball away and reach your right arm up in the air. So I can kind of touch lightly on the ball there. If I wanted to add more balance here, right hand comes to my hip, bend to the left knee. Now heel toe in with the back foot to get body weight on the back foot, and you kind of move into a balancing half moon. So you can rock back and forth here, which is a really great transfer of body weight from the front foot to the back foot. And then lift into your balancing half moon. And the ball is a nice prop. However, it's still a little different than a block for sure. It's taller, of course, but it also moves. So I can stretch the ball out and further away and reach my right arm up. Ooh, and then step back. So I'll lift the back heel and adjust for lunge, shoulders, hands under shoulders, stepping back to plank, hovering low, rocking forward, lifting into cobra or up dog, and back to down dog. Walk up behind the ball. And we'll do all of that on the other side, and then turn around so I don't have my back to you. Left foot steps back. And land that first for warrior one. And then rise. And we're going to sink deep into the front lunge. Your choice to let the ball fall behind your ears. Keep lots of length here, so it's a big arc to stretch out and lower the ball. Now to transition to the side, take left hand onto your hip, open your hips to the long side of your mat or sideways facing. Straighten out your right leg. This right here, it's just lovely. So you have a hip hinge, right? You're folding right where the left thigh goes into your hip crease, keeping the bottom waistline nice and long. You can stay right there. And stretch the top arm up. Maybe start to bend your front knee. And sometimes it's nice to put your hand back on your hips so you feel where your hips are. So you kind of play with that transfer of body weight, to the front foot. And there's a bit of leverage there. So the back leg, it's active. It adds an element of sort of counterbalance. And then once you feel like you can transfer body weight to the front foot, lift the back leg, perhaps roll the ball a little further away. And if you'd like, left arm, hello, don't turn your head, goes up in the air. And gracefully, stepping back, bring the ball back toward your front shin, turn your hips to square to the ball, lifting the back heel, step to plank, hover belly onto the ball, and roll into up dog. Feels so good. Press back into a forward fold or down dog. And then feet walk up behind the ball, grab it, inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Let's do one more flow that adds a balancing warrior 3. Inhale, stretch, out to fold over. Remember, control this descent. Bring your ball under your chest, fingers point down. Right leg steps back again. Flatten out the heel so the right foot turns to the right. Left shin lunges into the ball. Lift into warrior. Here, you can lift the back heel to make it more of a crescent warrior. It's just sometimes, a little more challenging with the back heel lifted. Now lower the ball back down to where it started and shift forward into the front foot. So at this time hips are closed or square to the floor. So you could stay right here. A great way to work, lifting the back leg and kind of feeling, are your hips square? You can roll a little bit to square your hips the best you can. Now if it works, you can lightly, you're only holding the ball with your hands. You can lift it from up here in your upper back. Float the ball into balancing warrior 3. Definitely a little more demanding. This time as you exhale, lower the ball, bring feet together, and then fold forward and find some length. Happy stop. Before we switch sides there, you can bring the ball back under your chest and sit into squat. And again, the ball does have a little bit of weight. So as you sit back into Uttanasana squat posture, the ball overhead And holding lightly with your hands, again feeling your upper back muscles. Take one more deep breath in, and then as you exhale, fold forward, ball rolls away, find some length, and then bring it back. And let's find the warrior one on the left. So left foot steps back, and lift. So it's a good place to kind of launch pad into various, whether this triangle or this balancing warrior. And lift the back heel. Feel how that helps to square your hips. Lengthen the ball, reaching out and lower to where it started. Shift body weight to your front foot and play here. And can you sense, are your hips open? Can you close them a little bit? You'll know they're closed if the outside of the standing hip is really working. And then maybe grab the ball and float it and reach. Huge demand in postural muscles. And slowly lower the ball, feet come together, roll the ball forward. You can also add your plank. We've been stepping back with plank. Let's roll the ball under your chest and bend your knees to roll forward into plank. Okay. So you can, once you roll forward, you can have the ball underneath of your thighs. The further it goes, obviously the more challenging it is. So here in your plank, you practice chaturanga, which is nice to have lower body supported. So elbows can come to ribs and straighten. But always keep shoulders a little higher than your elbows. So it's not really recommended, to drop your shoulders lower than your elbows, just because of the health of your shoulder, the way your shoulder socket is. Now pull knees in toward your chest, and that's another way to practice lots of upper body weight-bearing postures, right? So the dynamic nature of the ball allows you to pull in and press out. Now we practice that kind of slow. Now, for twisted crow, way easier with your body weight being supported on the ball, you could twist your lower body to one side, come back to center, roll the ball away, and I would take a quick stretch here. Hands will stay still. I'm reaching, toes way out back, nice long line. And since we did one side, we'll do the other. Shoulders over wrists, pull your knees in, and then keeping knees glued together, roll the ball to the other side to feel your twist. Come back to center, roll the ball back into plank, and find a quick stretch, which feels really nice on your wrists. And then coming into plank, walk back, plant your feet on the floor, let your knees bend, push up, and roll forward. Nice. And then we'll transition into seated. So have a seat on the ball, a little more with the hips. This is a figure four. Pretty challenging. It's probably the most challenging figure four on the ball. So root your feet down. This is a balance. Go back to the balance challenge. When your feet are wider, you feel more stable. The more narrow your feet are, the more challenging it is. So root your left foot down and pick up your right and cross your right ankle over your left knee. So it's like a pigeon, figure four. You could hold on to the heel and the knee, sit tall, perhaps lean forward. And you can clasp your hands behind your back to reach your knuckles back. So your body knows that you're sitting on an unstable surface. Your body knows that this ball is kind of challenging some of the smaller little intrinsic muscles to stabilize. Now we can keep that cross going, cross the right leg over tighter, and add another twist toward your right. Take two more deep breaths. Anytime you twist, you want to feel a length in your spine. Just a little bit like eagle. You could tuck your foot, behind your bottom calf, if that works for you, which makes it even more of a balance challenge. And turning your head does too. And then unwind and come to center. Let's do a seated fold here in the middle. Anchor down through your heels. Press the back of your thighs into the ball so really your hips kind of hover up off of the ball. Same deal here, you could clasp your fingers behind and fold your belly onto your thighs. Really digging your heels in. You could also cup fingers on the ball. And then bend both knees, sit up nice and tall. Let's take the other leg, figure four. It's kind of a seated pigeon. And gently, hello balance muscles, help yourself to open the knee, lengthen out and over. So it is a leaning forward, not really rounding. Right? So lengthen out and over, maybe fingers on the ball, maybe clasp hands behind and keep folding. And then come up. If you want to go tighter, so that's external rotation. And for your hips, it's good to go in both positions. This is internal rotation. So maybe you tuck your foot, maybe you don't, but it's a seated, seated eagle. And then you could add rotation in your spine, twisting toward the top leg. And you could certainly add the eagle arms here as well. So it could be like a seated eagle. If your left leg is on top, your left arm would go under, and you could work a more traditional arms and legs position. Again, a big challenge, different challenge, sitting on the ball. Unfold. And let's pressing into heels again. It's good if you're going to do your forward fold to roll forward on the ball, so less of your thighs, the back of your thighs, are touching the ball. Press your heels down, drive the ball back, and you're pressing the back of your thighs into the ball. You could take arms wide here. You could also have arms overhead. So this is very much like seated Dandasana. And by spreading your toes, pulling your toes back to you, you're going to feel a very similar length in the back of your body, but again, a little different sitting on the ball. In fact, from here, let's do a counter sequence for that into bridge. So I'm going to walk forward, let my head and shoulders rest on the ball. So this is your bridge. I'm pressing hips up. You could have feet wide because that's a little more assistance for balance. You may work toward making the base more narrow, in which case you could open your arms to help have a little more surface area in your upper back pressing into the ball. So I'm going to keep arms wide, press into the left foot and reach right foot forward. So we just lengthen hamstrings. This is a huge hamstring strengthener. And then place your foot down and drive your hips back up. And switching, press into the right foot, extend, left leg out, and breathe. Feels like a one-legged bridge on a ball. And then bend your left knee. And from here, little hands behind my head just to help pick my head up so I don't want to crank my head up off of the ball. And walk my feet back, sink down. It's almost like a little Hindi squat. A lot of pregnant women use a ball in this position for back pain and to help with labor, which is just a fabulous tool. Deep squatting is so healthy for your hips, so that if anything that can help you get into this position is usually a benefit. After a while, the ball will go away. So I'm going to use the ball now for a back bend. Let head rest on the ball, and definitely keep your head in contact with the ball. Start to press into your feet and roll back to, this is sometimes called supine trunk traction, but it's also to prepare you for wheel in yoga. So wheel can be pretty challenging. So wheel is a big back bend with your hands on the floor. You can slowly walk yourself or help yourself to feel more familiar and supported in this position by bringing your feet in and bringing your hands in, and start to feel, that you can push up. And it depends on the size of the ball, but you can unload some body weight off of the ball and keep, kind of feeling where does the work need to happen for you to unload off of the ball. And it's always fun here to play with that
one-legged version because it's much safer, easier on the wrists to have your body weight supported in order to, just to play. And then walk forward. Remember, don't crank on your head. Use your hands to help lift your head off of the ball. Let everything settle. Hips will sink back down. Push back into the ball to walk up and have a seat. Yeah. So great back bend there. Let's release the ball, roll it forward, and have a seat. And we'll finish with a couple of options here. Seated for boat pose. So boat pose is with, it's a balance posture, seated with limbs all up off of the air, or off the ground, up in the air. It's nice here to use the ball to help support your legs. So typically your legs are up in the air, your arms are up in the air. If you walk the ball away, so you don't have your heels right on top, more than likely, because that would collapse your spine, you might need to walk it away to use the top sides of the ball. And then still, hands behind your thighs to help lift so your spine is long. And then maybe your arms float up. And take a few breaths there. So if I try to unload body weight, I'm using the ball so lightly with my heel, to rest my heels on. All the work goes where it needs to, right in my, hip flexors. And then bend. Now, if you're feeling really saucy, you could grab the ball between your feet. Remember, you're only holding it with your feet. You're hugging it from someplace deeper. And then you can practice floating the ball. And extending. So hands behind your thighs helps you to lift your chest. Woo! And then maybe arms go up in the air. And you breathe a couple of rounds of breath. You'd be like, whoa, that is enough of that. Bend your knees. You place feet on top and roll down onto your back. You can bring the ball in and let your calves rest on top. So you can roll a little side to side, and massage. So I'm always looking for ways to get twisting in and back bending. I feel like there are two things that we could use more of. So this is twisted stomach pose. So I'm going to take the ball back into my feet and stretch it up. Again, just holding it with my feet. I'm not trying to crush it. I'm actually upper inner thighs are working to hold that ball. The ball just happens between my feet. So arms open wide in T. You might have palms down to help anchor into the ground. So I rock the ball toward the right. My left shoulder stays on the floor. I'm also pulling the ball up, trying to reach my ball toward my right hand. And then come back through center. And when I roll to the left, right shoulder stays anchored. It's a good idea to keep your head centered in this position. Or you could actually rotate your head opposite the ball. So when the ball goes right, your head goes left. You come back through center. When the ball goes left, your head can go right. The most important thing is lengthening your legs as long as you can and keeping the opposite shoulder down on the floor. And then make your way back through center. Bend your knees. Let's put ball down. Roll away. Let your heels rest on top of the ball. Now this one's probably a little more familiar to everyone, this version of bridge. When your legs are on top of the ball, your heels, and then you press into the ball to lift your hips up. So that's a little more familiar for most people. Anchor shoulders down. And here you could press your left leg heel down into the ball really strong and do that same one-legged bridge where you reach one leg straight up in the air. So it prepares, strengthens the back side of your body. And then switch. Press the right heel into the ball and reach your left leg up in the air. And then lower. Now here, you could roll the ball in until you feel like your feet are standing on the ball and then drive your hips up. And a great way to build strength in the back side of your body Let's go back to that one-legged bridge. Slowly roll the ball away, and now lower the leg. Pull the ball in. Switch. Other leg up in the air. Slowly roll the ball away, and then lower your leg and roll your spine down onto the floor. Roll the ball toward you with your feet together, knees apart, like a little butterfly. And then you can open your arms in T or in cactus and let the ball roll side to side. And a quick stretch of your hamstrings. Let your left calf rest on the ball. Reach your right hands behind your right calf and pull that leg towards you. Now if you trap the ball, so you trap it behind the left thigh and your left calf, and it's a little bit of a hug. You're really just kind of holding it there. Right hand on the inside of your right calf, and you can find, it's a little bit like a happy baby, for those of you who are familiar with that pose, or an upward wide angle. Right leg opens to the side, and you can let the ball roll in opposition. This is a great place to find a little cervical rotation in your neck. Let your head roll. And then switch. Let your right leg rest and drape over the ball. Hands behind your left calf or your left thigh. Bring the leg towards you. Just make sure your hips stay down on the ground. Circling your ankle around here is a great option. Left hand on the inside of your calf. Open the left leg to the left and your right arm to the right. Let the ball roll to the right. And breathe. And that's kind of a short, there's so much more you can do, but that's a short sort of intro to ways to incorporate the handy dandy ball with yoga. So enjoy. Love to hear your feedback, your successes, any postures that you feel like you want to focus on more. I'd love to hear that. We can send ideas your way. Be well, be safe. See you soon.